I was a political journalist, believe it or not, until my fiance died very suddenly one afternoon in New York City. And that instant um, prompted, I was actually researching a book for the Northern Irish peace process at the time down in Virginia, interviewing people down there when I got the news. And I decided to stay in Virginia, at which point all sorts of very, very strange things started happening. Things start moving, lights were turning on, there were sounds, all this sort of thing. And it ended up leading me on a path from one person to another person to another person. Because I was definitely a devout skeptic. I'd been raised Catholic, but I had absolutely no religious beliefs at all. And it was a very, very, very hard turn to make to start to understand what all of these things were happening around me. And I sort of got there with the help, believe it or not, of a Catholic priest, first person to help me on the path, starting to entertain the idea that consciousness survives death. So it was a very, very sharp turn. It's very hard for me to take, and took an awful lot of experiences, took a lot of scary sort of experiences of waking up with the bed shaking and whatnot, for me to finally cop on that consciousness survives death as we know it. And so that actually, what started happening simultaneously with that was I started being aware of not only my own fiance, but also other people's loved ones. And there were starting people, I would just sit down under a tree and somebody would appear and, and I was encouraged. I had this ability that used to happen when I was a child. I'd wake up and there'd be somebody standing at the end of the bed. But, through the teens and 20s, I'd completely lost interest in that and it stopped happening. And so a couple of people, very, very good, very spiritual people, had advised me to really do something with it. It was proving to be very, very helpful. And so I just felt that to do that, I really wanted to do it properly because, people are very vulnerable, as I knew myself when they were grieving, and I really wanted to be very ethical about it. So I actually studied grief counselling, and I went to the Arthur Findlay College and studied mediumship formally, just to really be able to try to effectively help people as they were going forward. And that sort of arrived now. So now I've written a book. I've done. I work as a medium. I do a lot of public speaking. I do a lot of public and private mediumship, as well as authoring books and articles. And I'm just finishing up a doctoral research of ghost stories. And so just sort of looking at new ways in the 21st century to start seeing how we can integrate and how we can kind of move away from myth and superstitions and old medieval beliefs and into sort of a 21st understanding of the richness of the spirit presence, the power and the presence of the spirit around us, and also the richness of the mystical states that brings with us and the way it can change and how we see life and really enrich how we move through life for ourselves and for other people.